So there's a company, right, called Levels, and they sell a product called Levels, and there's apostrophes over some of those levels.
I think you'll find it's apostrophe. Levels. Good.
Colin had a problem and a microphone to spare. Thomas took it up and so the podcast went to air. For weeks and months they trolled through every single DVD. They've unwrapped all the ones they can and now they're cellulose free.
Hello, dear listener, and welcome to Cellulose Free. My name is Colin, and with me, as always, is my fellow film watcher compadre and son, Thomas.
Hi, hello.
I'm not sure about the cadence there, but anyway, what have you been up to?
The election's over.
Hooray!
And the well and truly minority Liberal Party has made a deal with the Jackie Lambie network, which gives the Jackie Lambie network nothing that they were likely to not get anyway.
Well, yes.
And in return, Undying Fealty, I think?
Yeah, we'll do that. Yeah, we'll do that, and we'll do... we were going to do that anyway, and we'll do that.
I believe they are under more restrictions than the Liberals' own backbenchers.
It's crazy.
Of which there aren't very many.
No, I don't understand.
Two Liberal backbenchers in the House of Assembly, and one of those is going to be the Speaker, so one Liberal backbencher.
Well, I mean, technically, even the front benchers, as far as restrictions of the party is concerned, technically they are entitled to conscience votes. Whereas these people that they're dragging in to fill up the numbers, they're back to how it was before, anyway.
Conscience votes is interesting because there's this concept called collective cabinet responsibility.
Yes.
Where everyone's supposed to have each other's backs. How long that lasts with Eric Abetz in the cabinet roles he's been given, I don't know.
I don't know either. I don't know.
I can't remember what he's been handed. Transport, I think, was one of them.
So we supposedly have government, even though I have not heard the last independent who. Yeah. Have they got someone to make up the numbers?
Don't know.
Looking at them, I can't see any of them.
No.
Anyway.
None of them, I think, are going to take the same deal that the JLN have just taken.
Absolutely not. No.
Meanwhile, I compiled, and I want to be very clear here, compiled subtitles for a video, which is to say that I took subtitles from existing videos and put them together for Battle for Dream Island thing.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Occasionally, we put out compilations of episodes.
Well, a clip show.
Well, not necessarily a clip show, because they are all in order and consecutive, but
okay, fair enough.
And that hadn't been done for about 8 months, and it was still sitting there with auto subs, which don't always go so well.
No, they can be quite variable.
And I've been watching the TV show Fargo, which has been good. I've been enjoying that. Currently partway through season 3.
Wow.
Yeah.
You have been binging.
Yeah.
So it's a worthy successor then?
Yeah. At times a little self-referential, but...
Yeah, I have not seen the TV show, but I have seen the film, and it does not surprise me at all, being self-referential. It's that kind of thing, really. But...
Like, one of the plot points of the first season is that a character finds the briefcase.
Ah, okay. Cool.
It has very little to do with Fargo the movie apart from that. But a character finds the briefcase.
That's stretching a Chekhov's briefcase for quite some time.
It is technically an anthology, but things wrap back round to each other over time, and a character from one season will narrate an episode of another season. And that's, I'm having fun with it.
Oh, good.
And then earlier today I had cake.
Yes, I had cake too. I can verify that Thomas did have cake.
It didn't go very well for me.
No, it was quite a challenge. He was trying to have his cake and eat it too. Or the cake was trying to... I don't know what the cake was doing.
It's one of those Coles Bakery's store-bought cream cakes, which the icing on those tends to be very sticky in regards to everything but the cake itself.
For our American listeners, I wish to point out that when Thomas says icing on the cake, he's referring to frosting.
And when I'm referring to Coles, I'm not referring to Kohls.
No.
I'm referring to Coles.
One of the mega supermarket chains in Australia. Why did you have cake anyway? Why did I have cake?
Apparently, this is the 202nd episode of podcast that we have produced.
I must confess that during the past week it suddenly dawned on me that, we must be getting pretty close to the 200th mark. And then we determined that we had actually surpassed the 200 mark, and my wife happened to be in the room when we were discussing this and threw cake at us tonight.
Completely unexpectedly.
Yes. To celebrate our, and I put in very large quote marks, achievement.
To the extent that I wasn't sure why there was cake in the fridge in the first place.
So, yes, Capricorn 1 was our collective 200th episode, going through Cellulose Free and our prior podcast, Still Under Wraps.
And discounting bonus stuff.
That's right. Yes,
and trailers.
Full bona fide episodes. So good on us, or something. Yeah. That was quite a nice cake. If you could get it off your spoon.
Yeah.
And into your mouth.
No, I did what you're supposed to do with a cake, and I cut it with the spoon, and then the icing, it just sort of came away with the spoon. Which was a whole thing for like a whole minute more than it needed to.
It just peeled completely off the top of the cake. Whereas I did notice that no one else seemed to have that same problem.
No.
Hence my trick of sticking super glue underneath yours.
In the third season of Fargo, which I'm currently working my way through, the main cop character has, trouble with electronic sensors like automatic doors.
Right.
And soap dispensers.
What, he fails to activate them?
Everyone else seems to be fine, and it leaves her flummoxed.
Good.
And at one point tries to use a cell phone and just sort of cuts out intermittently.
Yep.
Just seems to have trouble with electronics. And this is a season set in 2010, 2011. So
okay.
There's a few electronics about.
Yeah, cool.
Anything else you've been up to?
We haven't been to what I've been up to, other than me mentioning in passing that I had some cake as well.
In passing. Yeah,
actually, I should have said nothing and said, no, there isn't, because I've been sort of hesitating heading towards today's podcast in that, I think this is reminding me of one of the things that I guess got me down prior to our hiatus, was having to discuss that I haven't done much. Yeah. Did the usual for this rotation of episode on, episode off. I donated plasma.
Yeah.
And did a bit of walking and just some fixing up of things around the house. And other than that, no, I lead a very dull and boring life. So
that is the trouble with this segment, isn't it?
Yeah. How it manages to go for so long, I don't know.
No.
That being said, we also I seem to get some really good material out of this segment sometimes. So
it's a roller coaster.
But we shall not drag this on any longer. We have a film to watch.
We do.
What are we watching this week?
We are watching 2010, the year we make contact.
That was 13 years ago.
Yeah, 14.
Oh, it was that hiatus that threw me. I should point out that the film itself was released in 1984, so it was a little longer back than that. I saw it at the cinema.
I didn't.
You did not. You weren't even a smirk on my face at that stage. So we're not watching it at the cinema today either.
No.
We do have a Blu-ray copy of it because it doesn't seem to be streaming anywhere other than if you prepare to pay more than what you're already paying on streaming services. So we'll dust off the Blu-ray player and we shall watch it on the Blu-ray player. I'm rambling. What is this film about?
A new time, a new odyssey, a new chance to confront enigmas arising from the daring Jupiter mission of 2001. Crew members aboard the Leonov will rendezvous with the still orbiting Discovery, and their fate will rest on the silicon shoulders of the computer they reawaken, HAL 9000.
No, that's meant to go... which is how things would appear on the screen in 1984.
This film is based on a book, as opposed to the previous film, which had a book based on it.
Yeah. And I believe Arthur C. Clarke did write the book for the film to be based on it. Yes. It is a lot more straightforward sci-fi romp. I'm quite looking forward to it.
It has a less complicated history than Hitchhikers.
Right. Yes. Okay. That was quite left field. Anyway, Thomas is going to open the case and discover that there is no disc in the case.
Yeah, no.
Then he's going to be told by his father, the disc's already in the player.
Oh, who would have guessed?
Thomas, the disc's already in the player.
Oh, who would have guessed?
We're going to roll the disc, spin the disc, we're going to watch it, and then we're going to come back and talk about it. So we shall catch you on the flip side.
All of these sides are yours, except side B. Do not set foot there.
I plan not to, you mongrel. So what did you think?
Well, what I think is that people have been very naughty and they've attempted landing on side B. What are you doing here?
Well, you know, they are planning it. You know, even though they've been warned, they are planning it.
Ah, dear. I don't think quite as good as I remembered it being.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the last time that I saw it was 2 weeks after I saw 2001.
Right.
Which you have to remember, I also did home from church with a migraine.
So you've got migraine blur recollections then?
Well...
Is that what you're saying?
No, maybe not so much with 2010. But I do think it is a better film than 2000, which is sacrilegious to say, but I do think it is a better film in the ways that matter to me than 2001.
Yep.
It is not an artsy film.
It's not an artsy film, and it's paced well. The tense moments are very much tense. You know, it's not a slow burn tenseness. It has ripples of tenseness in it. Paced basically like I wouldn't say an action film, but it certainly has far more moments of action than 2001.
It's a thriller.
Yeah. A sci-fi thriller.
Yeah.
And I think it serves that well. You're right in your assessment that I felt the same way watching it again today, in that there are certain parts of it that had not aged well. There were sections that I remember being far more special in their special effects. Now, I don't know whether that is because my recollections are it being on the big screen and being projected through film, Whereas there is a tendency for Blu-ray transfers to emphasise all the warts. Mm-hmm. Any blemishes are going to show up on a Blu-ray transfer.
I think possibly it might also be hurt by not having the interesting gravity scenes that 2001 had.
It tried a couple of times inexplicably, but they contradict themselves in that someone runs into a room and then does the floating of the pens.
Yeah. Talking to each other, standing perfectly well, like normally, like you would in Gravity, and sticking pens up above the desk.
Yeah. There was very definite feeling of, we are not going to be anywhere near as much sticklers for science as Kubrick did. And all those things aside, you are conscious of them happening, but I think fairly early on in the film, you understand the sensibilities that are going on. This is a different film. This is a different mentality. And you just run with it.
It's a sci-fi thriller, but it also has undercurrents of a political thriller.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I had to laugh, and I do it every time it comes on. The opening scene at the very large array, and the Russian guy who comes up with the asthma, and that character was very familiar to me already, but with a very distinctly American accent. He played a character in the long-running series of MacGyver as one of MacGyver's friends, and to hear him putting on this Russian accent, it was quite amusing the first time around, and constantly gets a chuckle because it does vary quite a lot, even in the short amount of time that he's on screen. But speaking of voices, Sal, as far as casting a female equivalent of Hal's voice, the casting was just spot on, I thought. Again, a very small part, but it worked. It was spot on, and I really appreciated that. I'm not sure whether I appreciated quite so much the change of the light colour. That was maybe a step too far. Okay, they've changed the name, they've changed the voice. If Hal's light had been blue, then they probably would have gone for pink.
Yeah. What's a camera lens doing looking blue anyway?
Yes. Putting the light behind the lens that is also taking in the light. Yes, a bit crazy. But iconic. And yes, I poo-poo the blue, but it still works.
Yeah.
I don't think it would have worked with green, though. As for Haywood Floyd, played by Roy Scheider, who we have also seen in Jaws. So he's dealing with dolphins in his house in this film, and he deals with sharks in Jaws, and he later on became the captain of the Sequest, which is, crudely putting it, Star Trek underwater. And one of the crew members on that was a dolphin that had run of the ship through tubes and would pop up. So there were very definite echoes of some of the scenes in this film played out on Sequest that I found quite amusing. Got any notes?
No, I think we've covered everything that would have been in my notes.
Right, okay.
If I'd taken any, which I didn't.
I've only got one more note, and it does go back to my first reactions whilst watching that, and it did still have the effect this time around that it did the first time, and that was the feeling of vertigo whilst crossing between the two ships over Jupiter. There was certainly some green screen work that didn't hold up well there, mainly due to colour contrast issues, but actually looking down still gave me a feeling of vertigo, and that's probably one of the more iconic moments of this film for me, is that meeting of the Discovery again and that crossing and feeling of vertigo. It's just, I'm not a great person for heights, And
Yep.
that is a long way down.
Well, that's fine. I still can't take stepped escalators.
No. I wasn't going to raise the stepped escalators or lower them.
I like to have lots of footing.
Yeah, they are kind of freaky things.
Yeah.
I just don't think about them.
And I do.
And you do, yes. But I do get vertigo on those occasionally.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
All right. A good film.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
did thoroughly enjoy it. It is for the everyman, I think, and I don't mean that in a dumbed down kind of way or a put down. It's very, very accessible.
Yep.
And in fact, the eldest daughter just came in for 5 minutes whilst her tablet was charging and was going to leave and stayed for it.
Yeah.
And appeared to get something out of it. There is certainly moments of humour in it, and she was obviously paying enough attention to chuckle during that. I keep saying chuckle in this podcast of late. Why do I keep doing that? And also feelings of tenseness coming from her. Yeah, accessible.
Yeah.
Like it. I still have tucked away somewhere some of the original advertising material, like cinema posters from the cinema that I went to see it at, and a
Art book?
not
Coffee table book?
No. Going back the other way, the type of thing that they send to cinemas to show what they're with brief blurbs on the actors in it, and brief plot synopsis, and lots of flashy pictures. I say lots, but it was probably only between 16 and 20 pages long. That's tucked away somewhere as well. I recall quite vividly twisting Dad's arm and saying, "You work across the road from the cinema, can you duck in and ask for them to save it for me?" And they actually did. They don't tend to do that these days, or all their posters are all on screens. Depends on the cinema.
Yeah. And these days, it's all corporate.
Yes. It was one of the joys of, and I put that in quotes because, yes, it was a joy of the job, getting on the good side of various distributors, reps who would come into work when I was dealing with DVDs, and they would hand over the spare posters, and so I got dozens and dozens and dozens of movie posters rolled up under the bed. But who knows, they may become worth something, but I'm not going to sell them. I like having them. Plenty of Disney ones. Anyway, I digress yet again. Do you have anything else?
Nothing, just but to clarify, timelines.
Mm-hmm.
So, screenplay of 2001.
Right.
Novelised by Arthur C. Clarke. And I think also written by Arthur C. Clarke. I think the timing on that particular one is weird.
It was happening simultaneously in places, I believe.
I feel like possibly the book came out slightly before.
Yeah. Well, while you're looking for that, it's interesting that 2010 emphasises quite heavily the phrase by David Bowman, "My God, it's full of stars," which was never said in the first film.
No.
It's certainly in the book of 2001: A Space Odyssey, but it wasn't said in 2001: A Space Odyssey, the movie. And as I hadn't read the book, I remember watching 2010 and thinking, I don't remember him saying that.
Okay, so 2001, the book was released just after the film, and there are differences between them. 2010, Odyssey 2, the book, hews closer to the film's slightly different version of events, and then is adapted. It wasn't made to be made into a film, but it was adapted a couple of years later into The Year We Make Contact. And then there are 2 more books.
There are.
Which I have read, and I think enjoyed.
Yeah, I think I did too, but I can't.
And have their own varying interpretations of the universe.
Yes.
I still maintain that it's a less confusing continuity than Hitchhikers, but that's only because it's impossible to get Hitchhikers straight.
Well, it's a bit like Shakespeare, really.
Mm-hmm.
Every performance of it has a different interpretation and slant to it.
Yeah,
However, unlike Shakespeare, lots of it gets rewritten and scenes completely removed and replaced by equally crazy scenes instead. And
the first series of the radio series, which I think came first?
yes, the radio series came.
The radio series came first, is sort of mixed and mingled with the second series when it comes to the first couple of books, and the television series does something entirely different.
Yep.
And the film series has an ending. Sorry, the film, not film series. Pretty sure they wanted to, but the money didn't pan out.
No.
No, the film has an ending.
Oh, you missed the record releases as well.
Yeah.
So they were different again.
And the radio series has like a very obvious retcon when it came to doing the 3, 4, and 5, because they wanted to bring it more in line with the book continuity. Or possibly it was the books that did that. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's irrelevant.
Hey, let's move on.
Yes, let's.
The following segment has no title. Thank you.
We will start over on Twitter with Angel,
Hi, Angel.
who says, apparently Twitter had deleted my guess and gave me a warning for it. That's why I allegedly was gone last episode. Sorry.
Oops.
It happens.
Elon's against us. That's what it is.
'Twas a good episode, though. I was listening to it in public and laughed far too loud. My guess was atrocity last episode, but it was wrong anyways.
I quite like that one, actually.
They continue. Thomas's voice barged in mere notes before the final strum of the outro, and I genuinely dropped my phone because I wasn't expecting it.
I am so sorry. I apologise to any of our dear listeners who listened to the original release of last week's episode with any tracks other than the recorded dialogue that we record during our banter back and forth. I usually manoeuvre down to a separate track before mixing, so that I can then, before I do the final mix down, make sure that nothing jumps or goes over another piece. And I have a routine, basically, and I did follow that routine except for double checking the end of the outro music, and managed to botch the outtakes after the outro, so that it came in too soon. And I'm thinking, what is Angel talking about? And I loaded it up onto my phone and had a listen. I go, no, because I jumped. So I did remix it, and the correct, improved version is available on your podcast streaming
on all
service.
our audio platforms.
On all our audio platforms. Well, I'm assuming that they do trickle back through if you do make a change.
Yeah. It's all just RSS pointing to files.
Files, yeah.
It's not fixed on YouTube because I can't be bothered.
Because Thomas can't be bothered.
No.
Even though I'm just totally appalled at myself. And
then, to add insult to injury, you apologised under the wrong Facebook post.
Did I?
Yeah.
Oh, oops.
Yeah.
Huh.
Did it under 111 instead of 112.
Oh, dear. Well, I do get this feeling that only one person actually sees our Facebook posts.
Oh, would that be Helen?
It would be Helen.
Speaking of...
Oh. Segue.
Over on Facebook, Helen.
Hi, Helen.
On 111, Asteroid City. But before you apologise.
Yes.
This explains the circumglobal spit scenario. You did, of course, fail to take into account the Coriolis effect. I don't think that naming the podcast Cellulose 70 cents per square metre is going to catch on. The beginning of this episode was one of the more hilarious 15 minutes of vacuousness in the history of podcasting.
Wasn't it just?
Mind you, 90% of the podcasts I have listened to have been yours. Speaking of 90%, I challenge your claim that 99% of Studio Ghibli films have trains, on the assumption that there is one Studio Ghibli film that doesn't have a train, because otherwise you would have said that all such films did have a train, then this implies the existence of 100 Studio Ghibli films. There seem to be less than 90 films, television productions, commercial shorts, video games, and other productions.
What we need here is a mathematician to arbitrate here. Oh, hang on. Oh. Okay. Good. Fair point. Fair point.
And my guess, late again, and ineligible, and wrong.
And wrong.
Is Ast City.
Yes.
Helen then went on to comment on last week's episode.
Oh, last week's episode. What was last week's episode? Ah, yes, I remember last week's episode.
3 Days of the Condor.
14 Days of the Oh.
The title that's in the title of the document that you're looking at right now.
I'm looking at it like that. I can't see the title of the document unless I scroll down and then it disappears.
Anyway, she says, and I've caught up.
Yay! Helen has caught up.
For now.
Yes.
The digital binary status of Max von Sydow as either 0 or 1 was amusing. I'm sure there were other comments that I was gong to make.
Gong to make?
Gong to make.
Gong to make. Right.
But it's hard to make notes while walking, and I can't remember my comment that I tried to jam into my brain for more than 5 minutes after it has crossed my mind. And then there is a guess.
Mm-hmm. There's actually 2 guesses, and that's cheating.
Oh, yeah. But we'll get to that.
We will.
And as a movie suggestion, The Station Agent. Except that you probably don't have it, and it's not streaming on anything you have.
Anywhere. All right, we'll pencil that onto our list of films that we have had suggested by our dear listeners for us to watch, and we'll see what we can do.
She also says, have you done War Games?
You're going for a double whammy again!
I think this one is allowed.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
Oh, I don't know.
You are allowed to double whammy suggestions because we're allowed to refuse them.
Oh, okay then. No, we haven't done War Games.
And I wasn't going to give this any oxygen.
No, and I wasn't either.
But it's come up in a comment.
It has. And I don't know how quite to handle it.
She continues, parenthetically, I was this many days old when I learned that there is a complete list of cellulose-free episodes on IMDb, but not still under wraps.
You're only a few days younger than myself.
Yeah.
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 Can't remember who. One of the kids came up and said, oh, did you know that your podcast is on IMDb?
I don't know exactly who has done it.
No.
I can tell you it's probably from my side of this partnership.
I think that's possibly right.
Yeah. I don't encourage it.
No.
I don't know why you've done this. Well, okay, I know why. It's because the Object Show community, which I suspect is specifically which part of my side of this partnership this has come from.
Oh. I thought it was the Ferret Breeders Association.
No.
Oh.
No, that's a different community.
That is.
No. No,
okay, I was wrong.
They have a stream. It runs 24/7. It has about 1,000 viewers at all times, and it's a ferret rescue.
Yeah.
And it runs entirely off the advertising revenue from that stream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Links in the show notes.
Ferret Software, an offshoot of Pirate Software.
Yeah. Oh, the T-shirts are great.
Yeah. What was I? So the Object Show community can get a little obsessive.
Enthusiastically obsessive.
Yeah.
To the extent that it appears that someone has indeed created an IMDb listing just for cellulose-free.
Very bare bones.
And in alphabetical order for the episodes.
Right.
Yes, so episode 1 is something that starts with A, I think, or numerical. I can't remember.
Right.
So, yeah, very, very bare bones. And it's a thing,
Yeah.
apparently. And
Yep.
I think that's all we need to
Yeah.
say about it.
Why?
Pandora's box has been opened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And finally, before we get to the guesses, on Twitter, M
Hi, Em.
says the genuine frustration didn't come through to me last episode.
Yeah. Yeah. You should have seen his face.
Oh dear. Hopefully, next week doesn't have to come up at all.
No. We shall see. Please, if you want to encourage more spitting around the world, you know where to contact us. Or me.
We do encourage you to send in comments wherever we are available.
Mm-hmm.
Possibly not via Spotify's comments, because they're very tucked away, and also they've changed the interface recently, and it's very difficult to find.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all hinky. It really is.
And also, apparently, you can't edit the order of a podcast on Spotify anymore. You have to go through a different service, and it's...
Oh.
Yeah. But fortunately, if you've edited it in advance and you don't need to do anything with that, just upload it and it's still fine. But
Right.
what worrying times.
It's struggle and a battle from the womb to the tomb, isn't it? All right.
And also, if you want to send in film suggestions,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Apparently we've already got 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of them we can definitely do.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which will bring us up to the guesses.
It will bring us to the guesses.
And I think we will start with Helen's guess.
Okay. Helen is instantly thinking, I didn't guess it right.
How am I supposed to turn 3 Days of the Condor into a 6-character summary? I could go with Redford. That's R-E-D-F-R-D, seeing as I'm pretty sure I'd be wrong with any guess associated with the title. 3 Days Sea? No, we've accepted Redford, because you clearly rejected 3 Days
You
Sea.
have. Yeah, so we've got to go with what is apparently what you believe is possibly what it may not be. Possibly be.
Alas, Redford is not even close.
No.
And in fact, you would have been better off going with the guess that you thought would be wrong. Still not correct.
No, still not correct, but closer.
We go to Angel, who says that their guess will be 3 Dekunde for this episode.
That sounds like something from Marvel Universe.
So 3, the number 3, DCNDR, which is...
Not.
It's close.
It's very close.
It's close, but it's not it.
We were doomed right from the start. Condensing such a large thing. It's not just word salad, it's letter salad. So.
And M, along similar lines, said Fdycn. Thdycn, which is along the right lines, but actually it's further away than Angel's guess.
Yeah.
The number 3 is correct.
It did actually appear. I used a number.
Yeah.
That's pretty weird.
But it then continues Dykdr.
Yeah, Dykdr.
Dycdr.
Yep.
Which means no points to go around
this
time.
No. Now, the opposite dilemma occurs here.
Yes.
For this week's episode, because we watched 2010.
The year we made contact.
The year we made contact.
Make contact.
What did I say?
You said made. You've sort of been interchanging throughout.
Well, you know. Well, if you look at the closing credits, it was just called 2010 originally.
Yes.
Yeah, so...
They are never going to get that. They can get close.
Yeah,
I think they can very much get close.
Yes. Yeah.
But they are not going to get that.
We shall see. I have great faith in our dear listeners. Speaking of great faith, in dear listeners. No, I don't know where that's going. Thomas is tapping away stuff.
I think, specifically on the information that we've given them, they will not get
that
this.
is true.
There may be one more character that is not alphanumeric that is valid.
Indeed. Well, see, I'm treating that as an absence of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it won't be an absence of in the file.
No.
Name, will it?
No. So I will accept anything. Anything. Hey, I think we really need to move on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pick a film for next week so we can go to bed. It's your turn.
It is my turn. And we've got a mishmash hodgepodge of all sorts of things that happened in today's episode.
Yeah.
We had Helen guessing that last week's podcast file name was Redford.
Uh-huh.
So I'm going to throw another Redford movie into the mix.
Yeah.
And I mentioned Dana Elka.
Elka, yeah.
Who played Dmitri, the Russian, who was also in MacGyver. So this is a film that has both Robert Redford and Dana Elka in it.
Uh-huh.
And it was made in 1973.
Uh-huh.
And I don't have the disc in front of me, and my phone has just died.
Right.
So I cannot even read you the plot synopsis.
Well, that's not going to be very helpful then,
No,
is
it isn't. If only I had another device at hand that had IMDb on it that I could quickly commandeer to read you the very, very, very brief IMDb plot synopsis that you're not going to guess it from anyway.
Well, then what's the point?
Ow! Okay. So I want you to look up the plot synopsis on IMDb for the movie The Sting.
The Sting.
Yes. I should point out that Dana Elka isn't top billed in this. There is another actor who is top billed with Robert Redford.
Went back. Why did it go back?
S-T-I-N-G.
I can spell The Sting. Okay. Sort of a...
Can you read the plot synopsis?
Yeah.
Go on.
Two grifters team up to pull off the ultimate con.
What was that? 9 words, was it?
4, 5, 10.
10. Two grifters join up, did you say?
Two grifters team up to pull off the ultimate con.
Right.
And looks possibly period?
Possibly, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It is quite a famous film that I haven't actually watched before, much as I hadn't watched 3 Days of the Condor before. And fortunately, they were both in the 2-pack DVD. Right. So we're getting that out of the way.
No, I don't think 2-pack is in this.
Oh. How about 50 cents?
No.
We're just getting silly now. I think we need to just wrap this thing up and cut our losses. Next week, The Sting. We hope that you can join us. But until then, we'll catch you next time.
Bye.
You have been listening to Cellulose Free. Your hosts were Colin, who produces and edits the show, and Thomas, who makes the artwork and music. Cellulose Free is recorded in the Deranged Cat Studios in scenic Tasmania, Australia. We keep track of our extensive physical media collection through My Movies, which we highly recommend. You can find links to that, as well as other places you can find us in the show notes. Cellulose Free is a Hi Hello production.
So what I should have said was attempt no landing there.
Yes, that is what you should have said.
And not, as I did say, set no foot there.
I'll fix it in post.
Okay. Can take a moment to cool off.
Yes. Breathe.
I got myself set on a tangent.
You did. You did. I was wondering whether it would come around and hit us in the back of the head.
No, we're not going there again. I refuse. I refuse to play along, that's it. And in a lounge room, that's ridiculous. I quit, that's that.
Next week, The Sting. We hope that you can join us. I don't think you'll be able to find it on any free streaming service in Australia. Any streaming. You'll have a good night. We hope that you can join us, but until then, we'll catch you next time.
Bye.
I wonder if I've got enough there to actually piece together an ending that actually sounds like we know what we're doing.
There is, I think, a streaming service that it is on.
Oh.
There is. But, this is a big but, it does require paying the Murdochs.
Oh, no.
So, no.
No, we're not doing that.
No, as far as we're concerned,
No.
it is not on a streaming service.
Who are you calling Big Butt?